Hey, what is going on, everyone, and welcome to the final blog post of patch 5.8 as we round the bend into the next patch 5.9, which will be coming out next week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday. So the program for today is that we're obviously going to be going over the blog. There's also a special strike time video that's going to be released today, and we're also going to be taking a look at that so we can get a better idea of the additional Web Warrior characters that are going to be coming, and check a look, and we're going to get a live reaction from me of the kits in that for the new characters, so that should be exciting. I also do want to talk and rant a little bit about some of the issues we've had over the last week or so. Hopefully some of these gets resolved, and there's been a lot of radio silence on some of these more pressing issues. Seems like we're not actually going to be getting a response about that, unfortunately. That's what it seems like anyways. So we'll be talking about that and more in today's video, so without further ado, let's get things started. Alright everyone, so I kind of knew that this was going to happen here today. We do have the additional members of the Web Warriors coming today in this Strike Time video and blog post, Friendly Neighborhood Web Warriors. Before we get started on all of this though, I do want to talk about my dissatisfaction with the continued lack of communication regarding last week's Thanos Giving event. It seems like we're quietly trying to sweep this under the rug, because there really wasn't there was like nothing talking about how upset that we were about the Thanos Giving orbs, how trash they were, how crap they were, because let's be honest, it was absolutely horrific. So I'm really disappointed that they never, there was no communication saying, we're sorry we missed the mark, this was bad, or they're not going to say this was bad, but you know what I mean. Like, we were all really unhappy about this, so that part of it I'm super unhappy with, and I hope going into the next patch for the winter that nothing is as bad as that ever was, because that should never happen ever again. It was some of the most predatory content, some of the most predatory offers regarding the Thanos Giving orbs, and it was just downright bad. And so on the second part, I really hope we do get the 1,400 power cores that are supposed to be delivered for those who missed it out of the power core calendar, because we're amid an event in a time where those power cores are really, really important for the Icarus event, for scoring more on the energy, just for your general day-to-day. This is all really important stuff, so I really hope it comes at the store reset today. Let me know in the comments down below if you didn't get it. So for me, I actually did get it. I got it when it was supposed to happen, but if you didn't get it today, or if it doesn't, please let me know about that as well. So let's actually continue on with the blog post here, Friendly Neighborhood Web Warriors. We're going to be going over this right now. We're going to be doing the strike time second after we go through that. So it looks like we're getting Scarlet Spider and a Spider-Punk? Yeah, right. Sorry, I don't know why I mixed that up. Yeah. So I hope there's a guitar solo in here somewhere with Spider-Punk. I don't really know too much about the characters themselves in terms of Spider lore. So, if you want to, enlighten me, feel free to do that as well. But these are the two characters that are missing, the missing pieces of the puzzle in terms of this team. We had the Ghost Spider kit thanks to Arnold of Star. He does some content for Strike Force, but he's primarily a Star Wars Galaxy Heroes content creator. But it was a good video, and I think that's what we're getting here down below, it looks like. But let's read this really quick. Heading to a raid lane near you is the Web Warriors team, which is made up of newcomers Ghost Spider, Scarlet Spider, and Spider-Punk, as well as current OG Spider-Man and Miles, of course. So I did a video on that where I calculated the base stat increases for the other two, for OG and Miles, and actually looks pretty good. So do check out that video if you haven't checked that out already, specializing in raids. So not necessarily Dark Dimension. So we're going to get the kits here. I'm not going to go over this because it's been available already for a little while, so do check this out at your leisure for Ghost Spider's kit here. It's actually pretty good. I think probably later on I'll have to give my final thoughts on the entire team. I don't know if that's going to happen in today's video. I think that's going to be separate after we take a look at the strike time. I'll probably need some time to process what's in the strike time and then give my final thoughts about that. So we're not going to be going through this kit here, but I do encourage, if you haven't seen it, to check it out on your own time. But it looks like we are getting the rundown of Scarlet Spider and the other two, so that's interesting. I don't actually know too much about the characters, so I will read this all on my own time as well, because I don't know much about them. But let's take a look at what the actual kits include. So, Hero City Bio Spider-Verse Web Warrior Brawler. That's what I'm concerned about, is that they're all going to be effing brawlers. Because in terms of ISOs, that's going to be that you're going to need a lot of brawler ISOs saved up in order to get them to where you want. Whether or not that's green 5, whether or not that's blue 1 or 2 or whatever, you know, start spam farming your brawler ISOs now. I know that Spider-Gwen or Ghost Spider is a controller, but who knows, you know, maybe they're all going to be brawler other than her. So basics, Scarlet Devastation, attack primary target for 220%, plus apply defense down, chain to 2 adjacent targets for 180 and defense down. This really kind of reminds me of a Symbiote Spider-Man basic. This is like basically what it looks like. Dodge breaks the chain in raids if Spider-Man is an ally. Apply offense down and slow. Ooh, 3 debuffs on 1 basic. That's pretty significant, including the adjacent targets as well, it sounds like. So that's pretty good. That's a lot of debuffing going on. Special Web Impact, 4/4. Attack primary target for 200% damage. Apply prolong the duration of 3 random negative effects, excluding ability block, stun, and trauma by 2. So that's a lot, by 2 turns. So we had this kind of, well, Ghost Spider has a spreading mechanic, which also actually says that you can't spread ability block, stun, and trauma. So that's interesting. I might have to ask more about this, because it seems like we're moving into this era where we don't want ability block to be spreaded or extended now. So the last time we had something like this was Adam Warlock's basic, which also did not extend ability block. So it seems like a lot of newer characters are avoiding ability block extension or spreading for whatever reason. I guess it's deemed too powerful. Not sure. So prolong the duration of 3 random negative effects. How many are left over, I guess, you know, once you exclude these? I wonder. Let me know in the comments down below. Chain to 3 adjacent targets for 200%. Prolong the duration of 3 for 2. So it's the same thing here, just less. No, it's the exact same thing. Just more targets. Counterattack breaks the chain. Ultimate Clone Crush. 4 out of 6. So this is available on turn 2, not turn 1, because you do get 1 energy at the start. Attack primary target for 300% damage, plus apply slow. Attack all enemies for 300% and clear all positive effects on any target that has slow. So I like that this is, the order of operations is really important, I think. So you're hitting primary target for 300, and then you're hitting everyone. My guess, including the primary target, for an additional 300% damage, so the primary target's actually getting hit for 600%. So that target should have slow, therefore that target should also get all of their positive effects cleared. That's kind of what I get. In raids, instead, clear all positive effects on each target. Okay, so they don't need to be slow then in raids, but everywhere else they do. Passive, no responsibility in raids on spawn if this character has 4 or more web warrior allies. So keep this in mind. This is a full team. It's him and 4 more. That's what it means. Apply offense up for 2 turns, plus 2 death proof to self and all web warrior allies. On turn, 50% chance to apply evade to 1 random non-summoned web warrior ally or self that does not have evade. So this is kind of like a Kitty Pride thing in raids. Always apply evade to 2 random non-summoned web warriors that do not have evade. This is basically a Kitty Pride sort of passive, so a survivability passive. Pretty good. On successful attack by this character or any web warrior ally, heal self and all web warrior allies for 1% of this character's max health. In raids, 3%. So this is like Symbiote Spider-Man's passive. This is like when characters apply negative status effects. Symbiote Spider-Man's passive, I'm pretty sure it says heal for 3%. So yeah, we'll have to see how this stacks up. I'm very curious about this. Is that going to be enough? I don't know. But we are getting a nice max health passive, 30%. That's what I was saying on my previous video, was that I hope that these new characters bring in additional passives that really bump up the team even further. So this is nice to see. 30% max health. They're also getting a 50% crit damage. So this makes me think that a lot of these want to be raiders. Not all of them, but some of these might want to be raiders, because not only are you getting 50% additional crit damage here, if you have a raider on top of that, that'll bump that up even further. I think an additional 25% crit damage too. So this could be quite significant when you get a crit. Okay, so that's interesting. Passives are always really long. Let's move on to Spider-Punk, also skipping the lore here. Let's get to the juicy stuff. Hero City, Bio, Spider-Verse, Web Warrior, Brawler. And just for the record, they are all, well, we knew that. They're all bio. Okay. And wait, do we have a brawler as well? They're all bio. There's 4 brawlers and 1 controller. Holy crap. Start saving your brawler ISOs now. Axe enemies with the Web Warrior's Axeman. Guitar solo, primary target for 200% damage. If this character has any Web Warrior allies, bonus attack for 300%. So that's probably always going to happen, so you're probably always going to get 300%. That being said, that's okay, I guess. We'll have to see what the numbers are in his damage stat, I suppose. Mosh Pit, 4 out of 4. Attack primary target for 160. Chain to 5 adjacent targets for 160. Counterattack breaks this chain. That's kind of unfortunate. In raids, instead, attack the primary target for 160 plus 40% damage per Web Warrior ally. So a full team would give this to 280% and then 280% on the chain. No debuffs. It's just a purely damage skill. I'm not sure if this is a bit underwhelming or not, but that's okay. We'll leave it as it is for now. Ultimate amped up, so this is also turn 2, because 4 to 6 really means turn 2. Attack all enemies for 250, plus apply heal block for 2 turns. Okay, that's interesting. Gain evade. In raids, if Ghost Spider is an ally, apply trauma for 2 turns to all enemies. Okay, so now we have raid trauma for 2 turns to all enemies. This attack cannot miss. So that's the second character in the game that has trauma. Omega Red in War, and sort of on a special, and then we have Spider-Punk here in raids only. Okay, Punk's not dead. This is actually a pretty low, pretty light passive. On this character or allied Web Warrior dodge, apply offense up to that character. On this character or allied Web Warrior crit, clear heal block on self or random Web Warrior ally with heal block. Okay, so I'm glad that in terms of the order of operations, it's checking to see that, make sure that you do have heal block. So it's not going to pick somebody, hopefully, that does not have heal block and then wasting that. Gain 25% dodge chance, 30% crit in raids. Web Warrior allies gain 30% crit. Wow, this is like Longshot and Shatterstar in terms of like the crit chance and the crit damage and all of this. So they're all getting 30% crit chance from Spider-Punk, and then they're getting 50% crit damage from Scarlet Spider. Wow, can you think of like having a Raider ISO on top of this? That would just be bonkers, and I think that's what's going to happen for some of the heavy hitters. We're not going to go over the reworks for these characters, but we already saw the stats in my previous video. I didn't go over the kits, but we'll have to do that on another time. Dark Dimension 5, Tadano Mac Japan. Yeah, we knew that. So there's going to be some new stuff regarding that, which will be coming out soon. Mojo's Mayhem. We're getting the Taskmaster new season with his Red Room costume if you want to pay for it. So another paid track for another paid costume. Great, okay. Availability update. Phoenix End Song. Oh, well, I don't know why they're telling us that, because that's the paid track for Phoenix. Repeating Legendary event. Invisible Woman. Okay, we kind of knew that too. Double Trouble. Right, not that important. Okay, upcoming blitzes. What do we have? Monster Hunter. That sounds like Elsa. Yep, Elsa Bloodstone. And a Yondu Blitz. Well, you know why that's probably happening. I'm not going to say anything, but you probably know what this means was coming up. Oh, that's all I'm going to say. Bonus and flash events. Your typical ones. You get your Chaos Theory coming back around sometime next week. And double shards for these characters if you need it. Okay, so we're going to go back and we're going to go check out the strike time now. We're going to see if there's anything in there that's worth reporting on. Because I want to see what kind of footage is in here in terms of what we're going to see for the whole team put together. So let's check that out. Okay, so here we are with the strike time here. We're gonna, I think, go through, not all of it, but we're gonna see what we can get through here.
Hard to make sure that we have a lot of fun events and new characters to earn without skipping a beat. The combat pod in particular really buckled down to bring a lot new fan favorite characters and much requested older character reworks.
We got Byron back again.
Yeah, I know you guys have been working really hard. I've been kind of monitoring your guys' progress, obviously, as I put together the
We're here to talk about the Web Warriors.
I either just got the shivers or that Peter tingle I've been hearing about.
Peter tingle.
How about we start at the beginning of that list with Spider-Man and Miles? I know our community's been asking.
Okay, we might skip ahead a little bit on Spider-Man OG and Miles.
Can you give us an overview of how we're making improvements there?
Okay, so you guys may have seen my video already talking about OG Spider-Man and Miles in terms of their base stat increases and all that, which, by the way, looks really good. It kind of basically puts them on par with the newer characters like Lady Deathstrike, the Wolverine rework, things like this. So we are gonna, if that's what they're doing here, we're gonna skip ahead because I really want to see more about Ghost Spider here and more about the new characters.
The team's new controller, and one of her distinct traits for the team is that she has a retaliate attack. And the retaliate attack works when any of her Web Warrior allies are attacked.
So I'm really excited to see this in action. The Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, retaliation attack on her passive. Whenever a Web Warrior person gets attacked, she hits back for like 250% damage.
Also, she has a new special synergy with Spider-Man Miles, where when he drops below 50% health, she is going to apply stealth to him. Also, she has a very powerful ultimate where she attacks all targets and spreads all debuffs from the primary target to all other targets.
All right. Yeah, she does have a really good kit. I think a Ghost Spider, I'll probably just call her Spider-Gwen. My apologies, guys. I think she has one of the better kits, in my opinion. She's definitely going to be like, I think she's like that symbiote Spider-Man of the symbiotes. Like, you really need to have her. Obviously, you need all of them, but I think that she's really important to have. So let's look. Oh my God! Let's look at Scarlet Spider here.
Is certainly an interesting character.
Holy crap! Look at those. I know it's gear tier 16. Look at those stats. 660k health. I know it's gear tier 16, and we're looking at like 170k, but still, that's a lot of health for a brawler character. I don't know if we had the stat totals for Ghost Spider here. Looking there, we don't have that, but wow.
It was introduced during the Clone Saga Comics storyline in the mid-1990s.
Okay,
his real name is Ben Reilly, and he's actually a clone of Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Scarlet Spider was originally created in a lab to be an enemy of Spider-Man, but later on they
here we do see two different tags, the Resolute tag and the Rebel tag. Now, I think the Rebel tag is the campaign event tag. Now, I don't know if it's going to be Ghost Spider or if it's going to be Magic. I think it's going to be Ghost Spider, but there was a data mine, I'm pretty sure, put out by Tana that suggested that Magic also is having an event, so I can't be 100% sure on this. I think the Resolute tag might be a secondary tag for something like a costume event. Those were commonly, we had those before, where, you know, it's like the Pierced Veil thing, things like this. So that's what I think is going on here.
Became allies.
Awesome, thanks for that.
So many brawlers.
Summary on his backstory. Let's dive into his passive ability so we can get an idea of what he brings to the Web Warriors team.
Sure. Scarlet Spider is kind of the linchpin character that holds the entire Web Warriors team together, especially in raids.
So we went over the kit a bit here.
With in raids, on spawn.
We can see already the T4s here, plus 15% max health for self and Web Warrior allies, so that's going to be really important to have. I'm kind of interested to see what they say about the actual functionality, what the design philosophy is on this, but yeah, we saw the kit itself. It's quite lengthy on Scarlet Spider, so which makes it really, really important. So we're gonna jump ahead a little bit here. Yeah, it's just so long. That crit damage, super cray, 50% crit damage, and we know we get a crit chance, I'm pretty sure that was from Spider-Punk. So the combination of these two really bring in that extra damage to raise everyone else up, both in crit chance and crit damage, which is really important. I would imagine that some of these characters will be, the more damaging ones are going to be running Raider just for those extra crits, and again, way more crit damage.
And in raids, he provides bonus crit damage to Web Warrior allies.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to his ultimate ability, please.
All right, this one is a doozy. So first thing he does is that he attacks his primary target and attempts to apply slow to them. Then he attacks all targets for big damage, and any targets that had slow on them, he will attempt to.
So I'm hoping this happens twice. Let's see if we
positive effects from.
We get a thing here.
However, in raids,
Amorphrost. Okay, one hit there, 353k crit. Wow.
This slow requirement on the enemies is not required.
Oh my god, that's huge damage! Like, all the crits. So, I think he's definitely someone I'm going to want to have a Raider on this guy. That's nuts. That kind of damage is nuts. That's like Eternal's Icarus level AoE kind of nuts in the damage.
So, he'll just remove all positive effects.
All right, moving right down the list. His special ability, please.
For his special, he attacks a target and chains to several enemies for moderate damage. This prolongs
the damage isn't too high here.
Duration of 3 random negative effects, excluding ability block, stun, and trauma on each target. Counterattack will break this chain.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I don't like the counterattacking breaking the chain, because I don't know how frequently it shows up in raids actually, but yeah, sometimes it's annoying.
Over to Scarlet Spider's basic ability. I read ahead a little bit. This one looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. So this is a rebound chain that deals moderate.
Interesting. He says it's a rebound chain. But don't they normally specify when it's a rebound chain?
And Scarlet Spider will attempt to apply defense down to each target.
Maybe that needs to be looked at.
If he's in raids and Spider-Man is an active ally, this will also apply offense down and slow to each target.
Okay, so in raids, on a basic, we've got defense down, offense down, and slow.
It gets even tasty.
So it's definitely a rebound. From what we saw there, it did go from 1 to 1 to 1 and back to Electro there.
Because all of that gets applied on his ISO 8 bonus attack.
That's delicious. Okay, so the next character, I have to admit, I wasn't quite as familiar with when I was, putting together the script.
All right, Spider-Punk.
Could you give us a bit of backstory on Spider-Punk?
I'm going to assume that most of our audience...
Not as high on the health. So 508k here. What was this? Something whopping. What was that? So we're at 732. I just wanted to keep that in mind there. For Scarlet Spider. Wow, look at those health differences. 660k versus like, oh my god. Scarlet Spider's a monster!
Round, aka
wow.
His origin story is a bit different in that he was transformed by a spider that was exposed to some toxic sludge dumped by Norman Osborn's goons. Wilbur became Spider-Punk and vowed to fight corruption, especially President Osborn's regime.
Boy, I guess...
Spider-Punk has the Rebel tag, but does not have the Resolute tag. So that's kind of interesting.
Norman Osborn just is not a nice guy.
I think you'd be hard-pressed.
Let's jump ahead a bit.
And
so we saw the passive as well. I want to see what the actual skills look like. So this is the ultimate. Sorry for jumping around.
It is a doozy. So similar to Scarlet Spider, this is a very hard-hitting all attack that deals heavy damage and applies heal
trauma in
However,
raids.
If he's in raids and Ghost Spider's an ally, he also applies the trauma negative effect to all enemies. And because his ultimate is basically Spider-Punk putting on his own rock show, this attack cannot miss because, of course, the enemy team is not going to want to miss.
Damage seems fairly high, but they also have offense up, I guess.
Absolutely not.
Look at all those buffs on the Web Warriors.
This one, again, just fantastic.
Striker follow-up.
Just tops themselves I say this like every episode, but I really mean it every episode. The animations in our game just get better and better.
Animations are good in this game. I'll say that.
We first
started good thing they are.
About doing Spider-Punk on Marvel Strike Force. Apparently, he had a lot of fans on the team. And so during our initial pitch meetings, whether we were talking about his kid or his animation,
okay, let's jump to the special.
Every Web Warrior ally he has, every strike of this deals bonus is going to have increased damage.
280 per hit strike.
Moderate damage is going to deal heavy damage. Counterattack can break this chain. And what's really cool about this one is that this one is animated to look like he's mosh pitting on top of the enemy team.
It's not a rebound though. So let's be clear that it's just a regular chain. It is not a rebound attack because it does say chain to adjacent targets. So I think some clarification needs to happen on Scarlet Spider's skill that does have a rebound, but it didn't specify. Whereas this one is not a rebound, but has similar text, I think.
Heavy damage. So this has any Web Warrior allies. He attacks a target for moderate damage, but if he has any Web Warrior
so he does
allies,
a 2-hit?
He attacks again for a bonus attack that deals heavy damage. So this is the first time we're doing this where the bonus attack actually deals a lot more damage than the initial attack.
So I'm not sure you would want to give Spider-Punk, I don't think, a striker because it's just extra damage, but it doesn't really do that much more. So I think something like Raider or Skirmisher might be something a little bit better. Depending on what you need.
I touched a little bit on this earlier, but now we need to circle back to
let's go back to the
ISO 8.
See what they have to say about that.
Which one are you favoring for both Scarlet Spider and Spider-Punk?
So as I talked about before on Scarlet Spider, Striker is going to be most useful on him because his basic has the ability to apply three negative effects. So and
he's super high damage though, so Raider could be an option too.
ISO bonus attack.
But yeah, Striker sounds good.
Because he gets bonus crit chance, he gets a lot of use out of the Raider ISO.
Yeah, I kind of saw that coming.
Okay. Increases crit chance and crit damage, and when
just got a little bit left
a
here.
Character with Raider crits, they apply vulnerable. So Spider-Punk.
But I think there's some of the stuff in there, especially like with Spider-Punk's passive, where it seems like there actually might be some viability outside of raids too, especially with kind of the applying offense up, clearing heal block. Are there any other modes where maybe you've been testing out the team?
So that's what I'm most concerned about. But I guess that's the intention of the trauma debuff. So we know that in Doom Raid, particularly Doom Raid 2, all of the boss nodes do have a Dr. Doom in it. And that makes it really important, at least in other lanes, to ability block them. Now we have that trauma and the heal block, so at least when he time platforms, he's not healing himself, and he's not healing the others as well. But he is still getting that time platform off. He's still getting the 3 turns, and, you know, whoever the next member is that gets that 3 turns are getting that as well.
I had some success theory crafting this time.
So do keep that in mind.
In real-time arena, especially
still blowing up.
Certain bands go up during certain days of the week. I've been finding some success using parts of this team. I'm not going to elaborate on the full team I've been using. I'm excited to see what the community comes up with.
Oh, got it. Yep. All right, fine. Keep your secrets, Mr. Game Designer Man. All right, and finally, the big question: when can we expect to see the reworks and the new characters?
Well, we know this is going to be next week.
But. So our next patch is patch 5.9. When the patch comes out, you'll have access to the reworks for both Spider-Man and Spider-Man.
Okay, I think we have all the information that we're looking to get. So let me know what you think about these characters, whether it's Ghost Spider, Scarlet Spider, and Spider-Punk. I'm most impressed with Scarlet Spider. Personally, I think his stats look like it's through the roof. So you're going to want to get, obviously you want to get high red stars on these characters. One concern that I do have is that 4 of them are brawlers. This is quite a bit of a concern for me in terms of ISOs. You're going to really want to start saving up your brawler ISOs in order to get them geared up properly so you can use them in Doom Raid if that's what you want to do, which is probably where you're going to take them. So we'll have more to talk about this in the days to come, of course, and as we approach patch 5.9. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on this team, on what's going on, and of course, until next time, everyone, enjoy your weekend, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.